Live from Tampa, Florida. Very good
Yeah.
friend, longtime InvestorFuse friend, CEO at Outfast Realty, president of TB RIA, none other than Mr. Greg Simpson. How's it going, dude?
What's up, Carlos? How you doing, dude?
I'm doing well. I was gonna see if we want to hit Bar Taco after this, get some
I would
tequila,
love
some
to.
duck
I have not
tacos.
had I have not had bar taco. I don't think I've had bar taco since the pandemic, actually. It
uh,
sucks. Yeah, it's brutal. Um haven't really done a lot of eating out since this. We've only done a few times for like date nights and stuff, and that's like literally sitting outside on a patio. Some of our favorite restaurants here in Tampa. So it's been a weird year for sure, dude.
It has been an interesting year, but you hit on something that we're going to talk about on this episode. I think it's a good year of almost like realigning your thoughts, mental programming, stuff like that. And I reached out. Greg has been on our master classes before, talking about different exit strategies for you guys. Probably a lot of you guys are familiar with Greg, especially if you're in the Tampa or Florida area, or if you watch InvestorFuse content, because he's done some master class videos with us as far as different exit strategy. You can see as the brokerage down there, wholesaling, does a lot of stuff, has had real estate in his family. So very familiar with it. But he has been posting or did the 75 hard challenge. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's pretty much 75 days straight of doing certain regimens that I'm going to have him detail for you guys. But yeah, 2020 has been an interesting year, and I think people are going to come out with a new level of gratitude and appreciation and energy once stuff starts to open back up. But as good leaders do, like yourself, you're inspiring and setting a good pace for everybody else. So yeah, man, I think we're gonna be able to jam and talk about a bunch of good stuff.
This could be a very involved and very heavy podcast for a lot of people.
Good, good. That's how I like it, man. Life's too short not to have those conversations, and you're definitely somebody I look up to as far as just people I've met in the real estate space. That inspire and lead other
Appreciate
people,
that.
and yeah, and that's one of the biggest things, being able to communicate a vision. Which I know you went to the. I'm blanking on the name. Not BWI. What's the? You told me about these.
Least,
The pub. It's like the public speaking networking events that you would
oh,
go
the
to.
BNI, BNI.
BNI.
Yeah.
BNI. So I know that you were heavily involved with that, the RE, everything like that. I guess to take a quick step back, Greg, do you want to tell everybody kind of just what you're up to these days?
Yeah, man. So things have, with COVID and a lot of things, we'll dive into a lot of the things that have really happened for us this year. But like our main focus right now has been the retail building of our brokerage, if you will. Clearly, that we're in a very hot market here in Tampa Bay. The inventory is at 0.75 months of inventory. So like literally houses are flying off the shelves in days, not weeks, not months. So the retail aspect of the business has been very, very good for us this year. Surprisingly with COVID, I know that, not every market has been that way, but we have definitely been that way. We can obviously go diving into the weeds on that, but like we just hit 38 agents yesterday on our team. That has been like my main focus the last several months, is growing our agency. Because, I've been preaching this to InvestorFuse clients and to you guys at InvestorFuse for about 3 years now, that retail is where it's at right now, because, agents can do so much more than you can as a traditional wholesaler. I'm not an agent, but I am still limited in what I can do. And our brokerage structure, which can work across the country, is designed for our agents not to be put inside the big box brokerages box, right? That's the problem with real estate big box brokerages, is that you're in a box. If you want to learn how to fix and flip, they're not going to teach you that there. You want to go learn how to wholesale, they sure as hell aren't going to teach you that at the big box brokerages. And so what we've done is we've allowed our real estate agents legally, because wholesaling is legal, fixing and flipping is a huge aspect of real estate, and buying rental properties is a huge aspect of real estate. A lot of those big box brokerages talk the talk but don't walk the walk. They don't show you how to do that. They don't talk about it. They don't want you to learn how to do it, because let's be honest, this, everyone watching this knows this. There's no money in being a real estate agent. None. Zero. Not zero, but you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
to make $10,000 on a real estate commission, you got to be selling some high priced stuff. But when I've told real estate agents I've made $10,000 on selling a $50,000 house, they look at me like I've got a third head or a second head and third eye, you know? And so like what we're trying to teach our agents is that there is more money to be made in real estate than being a real estate agent. And that's why we're becoming one of the hottest brokerages in Tampa Bay, is because we're encouraging our agents to be real estate investors. So we've really doubled down on our agent goal and recruiting agents. So that's really what I've been up to the last really 6 months or so, is really reaching out to agents, finding out what their struggles are. And every single one of them says, I want to learn real estate investing, but none of my brokerage doesn't teach me how to do it. So that's really what we've been doing. Obviously, with this year, personal development has been even a bigger thing than building our brokerage, that's pretty much why you brought me on here today, which we're going to really dive into. So that's kind of where we've been at. We've still been flipping a lot of houses. I'm doing my first wholesale deal right now in the last 2 years. It's my first one. I have not wholesaled in a long time. That's the beauty of working with real estate agents that want to be real estate investors. I found a really good deal. I decided, I was like, you know what? My agents have been complaining that there's no inventory. I just said, fine, I'll sell it to you guys. And that's where we're at. We're closed at the end of the month. So it's pretty crazy.
Love that. 38 agents. I mean, that's a pretty hefty sized team there.
Yeah, we should have 40 actually by the end of the week. I'm just waiting on a couple of them just to sign some paperwork, and we'll be at 40. So pretty crazy. We were at like 22, I think, when we started this year, and we didn't really do any heavy recruiting until the last, 45, 60 days. So it's all word of mouth. Just like, I've been preaching to you guys too. Referrals are the best way to do business in real estate, because that's how it kind of happened. A lot of them came from referrals.
Yeah, almost doubled the size team during the 2020 year of the pandemic.
Yeah, so when everyone says that they had a bad year, I feel very, very fortunate, very blessed, very grateful that we had this talk the other day with our leadership, and was like, you don't feel guilty because we're very fortunate. We positioned ourselves to be successful and have a good year. No one saw this coming. No one could have predicted this. No one had the right answers either, like how to weather this craziness, right? But we positioned ourselves to be a recession-proof brokerage. We're in a massive recession right now, and we're thriving. Now, I know a lot of businesses out there have really struggled, and I don't feel like I want you guys to know that I'm not gloating. We're not gloating. We understand. We have empathy for every single one of y'all that have maybe had a rough year this year. But there's light at the end of the tunnel with this pandemic, guys. And real estate is if you do it right, a recession-proof business. And we are very grateful and fortunate that we have had one of our best years ever. If you did have a down year, guys, you can still turn it around. The year's not over. Plan for next year and turn around and kick its ass next year. So
love that. And I want to touch exactly on that, setting up your best advice on setting up a recession-proof business moving forward. Most people listening to this are, doing direct-to-seller marketing, probably wholesaling, fix and flipping. Yep. But one thing, talk about nobody knew this was coming. That's definitely true. I don't think anybody, potentially knew a virus was coming that was going to disrupt the global economy, everything in the United States, real estate, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing, and even I know that you said just having conversations with you in the last couple of years, but it was kind of a buzzword of people talking about, oh, there's a market correction coming, the last 2, 3, 4 years. Oh, there's a market correction coming. There's something coming. So we didn't know exactly what it was, but people did know something was coming eventually. The market was going to come back down. You definitely knowing that in general, one of them I know.
Sure.
So what would you say is kind of your best advice or some type of insights gained this last year that you think is going to set your team up for 2021? Some of you already alluded to almost doubling the size of your agents in 2020, which is amazing.
It's a really easy question to answer, man. And I know that, there's this saying out there, and I am 100% believing in it. There are riches in the niches, but you also can't be a one-trick pony, because if you're a one-trick pony, you're a wholesaler, and the market is super hot right now with the retail side, it is very, very difficult to get really, really juicy wholesale deals. And a lot of wholesalers have struggled this year finding, good deals that you can bring to buyers. Now, granted, some buyers are making fools of themselves and overpaying for properties, but like, you can't be a one-trick pony. So like, when you've hit this real estate motivated seller lead for months and months and months, and you just cannot you're just so far apart, but they're motivated, or they really need to sell the house, or whatever the case is, and list it, sell it. Don't just be, don't, convert those dead leads that most wholesalers turn away into listings. Or creative financing offers if they have lots of equity in the home. Like, just, you cannot be a one-trick pony in real estate. And that's why people get crushed when the market does make a drastic shift. And that's how you become recession proof. You don't have to be doing all of those things at one time, but you sure as hell need to know at least enough about how those transactions are completed, if you will. So that way you can pivot like we did very easily by taking some time to take a step back, maybe really take a deep dive into that specific aspect of the business. And that way you can crush it in that side too. So you're literally not limiting yourself to just, again, being inside of one box. It's really, I know it's really hard to do, but you got to know where to pivot and how to pivot at the same time, or you're going to get left in the dust by the guys that have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. That's just the way it rolls.
Mm-hmm. A lot of marketing dollars and mental energy down the drain if you're just a one-trick pony. And 100% of the biggest commonality when I've asked just top people that I bring on the show, what are you doing to recession-proof your business, or best insight for moving forward? Not even code related, just in general, wholesaling is like, if you don't have multiple exit strategies, your chance of converting is going to go down, pretty drastically, as a general statement.
Yeah, I think when I took Ron LeGrand's stuff many, many, many years ago now, I'm pretty sure he just hammered home. I forget the exact number, but I'm pretty sure he was like, there's only 7 exit strategies in real estate. And if you only know one of them, you're going to get crushed. And I was like, something that always stuck with me from day one, because I started this business as a fix and flipper, really didn't even know much about wholesaling when I took Ron LeGrand's stuff. And I was like mind blown that there was literally only those 7 strategies. Now, you guys can, a lot of people can overcomplicate that stuff and turn 7 into 70. But like, there's really only 7 exit strategies, and it's not that hard to learn only 7 things. Again, you don't have to be an expert at all 7 things at all times and be looking for all of that. But when that seller comes in that says, yeah, I'll take terms, well, you'd better know how to freaking write up a terms offer, and so I think that's super important that you just diversify your knowledge on how to close deals. It's why we're making our agents called the deal makers, because we're teaching our agents how to make deals out of every type of lead that walks in the door.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So guys, if you're listening to this, obviously it may seem a little kind of a big leap if you're going into 2021 and you're like, damn, I don't want to necessarily start a brokerage and have 40 agents underneath me. That is a big jump. But I think there's obviously opportunities to network with local agents. You don't have to have them underneath your brokerage necessarily. Partner with other people that maybe know how to do terms deals or the other exit strategies besides cash. So you can definitely take what Greg is saying and apply it to your business.
Yeah, I'll add on that real quick, dude. Like, we started a brokerage because we know we have a very powerful brand. Our brokerage model is designed to franchise, and we're going to hopefully do that, in the near future. I couldn't tell you a date, right? But that's been our long-term vision from day one. So no, you do not need to start a brokerage and have 40 agents on your team. Please don't do that. Like, that is a totally different business model than what we're talking about here today. But I recommend that you do get your real estate license and find a real estate brokerage maybe that allows you to still do wholesaling, that maybe will even help you with coaching on that, because you should be wholesaling as an agent. You should be listing as an agent. You should be buying as an agent and flipping and holding properties and all that cool stuff. But there are plenty of brokerages out there across the country that allow you to do that stuff. You aren't going to find that at a big box brokerage. So find someone local. Go to your local RIA. There's always a real estate agent or agency there that works with real estate investors. And no, I don't mean the New Westers and Net Worth Realties of the group. I'm talking like real legit brokerages. Not that they're not legit, but they don't do retail stuff. They're only doing wholesaling, right? I'm talking about a real legit, full on, full service brokers that also allows you to do investing. That's why I would recommend it. So again, you're not that one trick pony.
Love it. How has the running the TV RIA been different for you this year? Have you been just doing everything virtual?
So that's been my biggest challenge of this year because we're a networking organization. That's what a RIA is, networking and education. Well, we on average pre-COVID were anywhere between 75 and 100 people at our main meetings and about anywhere from 15 to 25 at our subgroups. Well, our subgroups shut down completely right out of the gate because it was already a pain in the ass to have your main meeting via Zoom, and we were down to 25 people if we were lucky on our Zoom RIA meetings because it starts at 7:00. Everyone's home. You've got your kids screaming. You've got the other thing is like a RIA is like an escape for us, right? Adults to go have a drink, to go learn some cool stuff about real estate investing and just, hang out with your investing friends and buddies and friends, right? Well, you couldn't go do that. You didn't have an excuse to be on Zoom at 7 p.m. while you're supposed to be having dinner and stuff. So like our attendance just dropped. It's been a very difficult thing via COVID. We started going back live in October. We had 100 people in the room the first time and about had a heart attack because it was way overcrowded. And now obviously with the spikes that we're having, we're wondering what's going to happen going forward. We had one last month, which was really small because we're in Florida. We just hit the 1 million cases mark here. So like we were at a 35 people meeting that time. So like, it's been a roller coaster for the RIA this year. And, it's been a challenge, and it's honestly not been my main focus though. Like my main focus has been growing the brokerage because that's the main thing that we do. That's where we make money. So like the RIA has always just been a vehicle to meet wholesalers, to meet investors, to meet lenders and stuff like that. And if you're not meeting in person, it's very difficult to run.
Yeah, there's something about different meeting in person, and don't Greg is being a little modest because I know you definitely get a good bit of referral deals and bringing other wholesalers to get deals under your belt as well. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. Dan and I definitely mark it on the books. We will be there once we return to some normalcy. We'll definitely come back out to Tampa, and it would be an honor to speak at that.
For sure.
I want to switch a little bit to the meat and potatoes of the conversation here. Kind of talk like personal development because the strategies, even the 7 different exit strategies, or creating a brokerage, anything like that. A lot of the mechanics is, it's not easy to find out, but it's not rocket science, I guess to say. So a lot of what separates someone like Greg, who's had years and years and years of success as a real estate entrepreneur versus people that maybe fail in the first year or two, is really mindset and having a consistent mindset. So that's why I wanted to ask him about 75 hard. And I guess the first question, just to kick it off for people that don't know, how would you describe 75 hard, and what was your reason for deciding to do that?
So this might be a long-winded answer, but 75 hard is what is perceived to be a physical challenge. We'll go through the mechanics in a second. It's perceived to be a physical challenge because there's a huge physical aspect to it, which is what everyone sees as the daunting aspect of it, which actually I'll go into the mechanics of that, like how actually that was probably the easiest part of it. And it was more of a mental challenge than it was physical. And I know that we can maybe put it in the show notes for the listeners and the watchers, the podcast episode from Andy Frisilla. He started this when he had his podcast called the MF CEO Project, which is now the Real AF podcast. And I listened to Andy for a long time, and respect him. I respect the business that he's put together, respect his story, love his story of his rags to riches story. And, it's definitely a very grueling challenge. And, for those that don't know me that well, I don't do anything half-assed, like, doing a 30-day keto challenge is fucking boring to me. Like, that's just boring. That's easy, right? I want to do something really hard. And so that's why it's called 75 hard. But what happened, why I wanted to do it from day one. Let me preface that. I want to do that challenge the first day I heard that podcast. And I brought it to my wife, who I love, and she loves me. And she told me it was absolutely crazy to do something like that, because it is, when you hear what you have to do in this, you're going to see why. And so I will say it nicely, she wouldn't let me do it because she knew how disruptive it would be to everything going on. And this was like 2 years ago that I think that he came out, maybe a year and a half ago. And so every time I brought it up to her, like maybe 2 or 3 other times, I want to do 75 hard.
So right around when Luke was born, roughly.
Probably
like
before.
A year or two ago?
Yeah, probably a little before he was born, while she was pregnant. You know, I probably brought up a few times, and she's probably like pregnant and you're not feeling like the best. And she's like, screw you. I'm not going to let you go through a challenge that's going to make you look like a rock star. And I'm going to sit here being pregnant. Right. So maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know, honey. But either way, she was really, so part of the reason was why too, is that I have a bad back. I have herniated discs in my back and bulging discs in my back. So doing physical challenges is very challenging. I also have torn cartilage in my ankle. Sheesh. So doing a challenge that's very physical was also going to be daunting. So she was basically trying to convince me not to do it because I was going to hurt myself, which was a very good possibility, because I would just go for a jog and I would literally come back and my ankle would be just screwed up, right? And painful for days. So we'll get into the mechanics of that. So that's what happened though, was we're going through COVID. We went on a COVID retreat, if you will, a COVID vacation to the mountains of Asheville in June. And I had just bought a program from Darren Hardy called Jumpstart because he put the program together because of COVID. It was something that he had been working on for years, but released it. And I think it was maybe a month or so before that. And I had just gotten around to really going through it. And it was the first module talked about goal setting. And, with everything changing, it was the catalyst for this, because it was talking about goal setting in a way that, I've been following Darren Hardy for years. I do his entire goal setting products, everything that he does, the Living Your Best Year journal. And he said something in that Jumpstart program that really triggered me. And he said that sometimes goals have to be because something disgusts you, for you to finally make that switch. And that's what triggered 75 hard for me. It was a non-negotiable anymore. It was like, I'm going to freaking do it no matter what. And I had this in my head. This was like maybe on Thursday of our week-long trip. We were leaving on Saturday to go back to Tampa. And I had this lingering in my head for a couple of days. And so Sunday rolls around and I had to sit Jackie down. She's on the bed. I'm in the chair. And I go, babe, I'm doing this whether you like it or not. And we sat there for an hour and had an adult disagreement about doing this and what it was going to take. And I was like, I am going to do whatever it takes. And it starts tomorrow. Like I'm like, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it at all. So we come back on Sunday. We're like getting the house ready. And I dropped this bomb on her that I am going to do 75 hard tomorrow. And so I had to go start all the things that you have to do to get in, which I'm going to get into right now. So 75 hard is a 75 straight day challenge. And the first aspect of that is the workout regimen, which I'll touch on. The workout regimen is 2 45-minute workouts per day, of which one of them has to be outside. So if it's raining, you're working out outside. If it's snowing, you've got to do a workout outside. If it is a hurricane going on, you've got to do a workout outside. No questions asked. It's non-negotiable, right? So that's the first aspect of it, in which everyone goes, holy shit, an hour and a half of workout per day. How the hell do you do that? I will get into that later. The second aspect of that is where the personal development stuff really starts to kick in. The mental stuff is you have to drink a gallon of water per day. Well, for me, that's pretty easy. I pretty much drink a gallon of water. I drink 4-5 of these a day. as it is. Plus, maybe, I wake up every morning, I have a 12-ounce glass of water with lemon and Himalayan sea salt, right? And I have a couple seltzer waters a day. So that was not a big deal for me, but that's a big deal for a lot of people because I think it's 60% of Americans are chronically dehydrated, not just like somewhat dehydrated, chronically dehydrated. You want to know why people are sick with COVID? That's probably a good indication, right? So that's one thing. You have to pick a diet and stick to it. Well, I don't eat that bad to begin with, except for when I'm on the road every day, or was on the road a lot. I ate a lot of fast food, Chick-fil-A for the most part. So I had to basically go, I'm not going to be drinking or eating Chick-fil-A. No, because when you go to Chick-fil-A, you get a soda, right? You get a Sprite or a Dr. Pepper or Cherry Coke. Cherry Coke was mine. And so that had to get cut out. But overall, I ate pretty well to begin with, but like everything then we had to come on a meal plan. So we basically did some version of Whole30 / keto / paleo, all kind of a combined. I didn't pick one specific diet per se. I just said I was going to eat really healthy. So everything had to be a healthy, conscious decision. So I wasn't going to just pick one diet and stick to that per se. I just was like, I'm going to eat completely healthy for the 75 days. Okay. So then you also have to read 10 pages of a personal development book per day. That doesn't seem like a lot, but I read a lot anyway. So I was like, that's not going to be super challenging. That was actually pretty damn challenging because no audiobooks don't count. You had to actually physical hard copy of the book, which if you want to know, I'll go through those books later, what I did for that. Let me think here. What else is in 75 hard challenge? You have to take a progress picture every single day. I remember the second day I did it, it was like 10:30, 10:45 at night. I'm already exhausted from the workouts because it's brand new, right? And at 10:45, I pop up out of bed and go, oh my God, I didn't take my progress picture. And I ran out of it in my underwear and I'm like half asleep in the photo and I take the photo and go back to bed. So that was it was just the last thing of my day I had to do. Oh man, what else am I forgetting here? Oh, the big one. No alcohol. Not one drop of alcohol for 75 days.
No whiskey.
That's where everyone goes, oh man, I could never do that. I could never go 75 days without alcohol. Bull fucking shit. I'll tell you that right now. And here's why. When you work out twice a day, your stress levels are gone. Literally, your cortisol levels are at 0 because you are not able to be stressed out when you're working out twice a day for 45 minutes at a time. It really became pretty easy. Now, granted, yes, there were many times during where you would have a stressful day and you're like, man, I could really go for a bourbon or I could really go for a White Claw. Cause my wife, she was very supportive. Obviously Jackie was great. And only maybe on Friday night, she'd have a couple White Claws, but I don't drink White Claws much. So I was like, that's not a big deal. But like, there were some stressful days where I could really go for a glass of wine, because that's pretty much our ritual. Is like we would have a glass of wine or two on Friday nights and veg, because we don't watch TV to speak of. So like that would be our Friday nights. But so that's really, for the most part, that's the big one for a lot of people. But really, I'm telling you, when you're working out twice a day for 45 minutes, it is not that hard, unless you're just a crazy drinker, maybe. But I think that's all of it, man. It seems like a lot, obviously, but
yeah. So it's go ahead. I was going to say, to recap, so it's 2 45-minute workouts per day, 1 gallon of water per day, progress pick,
diet,
following a diet. So you're pretty much
no cheat
eating
meals,
whole
zero
foods, no
cheat meals,
sugar,
and no cheat meals the entire time. Not like, you do a lot of workout programs you'll do for 30 days, but you get 1 day a week to cheat meals, and nope, none of that. You can't break it. So the thing is, though, with all that stuff, though, if you miss one thing per day, you start right back at 0. You don't get to go, oh, I forgot to take my progress picture today. I'll just take 2 tomorrow, or I'll just extend it 1 day and do 76 hard. No. You miss one thing, you go right back to 0. So because it was such a crazy challenge, Jackie's like, all right, I'll let you do this. You get 1 shot at it, though. 1 shot. You fuck it up, Greg, you go right back to 0 and you're done. You don't get to do it ever again. I was like, all right, here we go. So That's what we did, man. And so on the diet thing, I want to really hit that. So that's really was very challenging. And I'll talk about what I did to really help me with that. And with the diet thing, because eating healthy on the go as a real estate investor and is very, very difficult, right? So meal planning and meal prepping, it was absolutely key. So a couple of times during the challenge, what I did to really make sure that that stuck was on Sundays, I would carve out several hours to food prep. And what we did to really help us, so we got a friend of ours gave us a Whole30 um, cookbook. And what we did is we did freezer bags of everything. So I would literally just take, 10 pounds of chicken, 10 pounds of pork, and all the things that were part of the diet, and put everything all at once into freezer bags, throw them in our outside freezer. And then every day at 12:30, I put a reminder on my phone, put the crock pot on. And that basically gave us 2, sometimes 3 nights worth of meals.
Nice.
So boom, had meals planned out for weeks at a time. At one point, I spent 6.5 hours on my Sunday meal prepping, and I had 28 meal bags of crock pot dinners for literally pretty much the last 45 days of 75 hard, because it starts getting really hard halfway through the challenge. I was like, I just need to conquer down. And I literally timed it on my watch so that y'all could believe that it was true, that you could meal prep 28 meals, or I should say it's more 28 bags of food, just taking 6.5 hours out of your day. That included all the shopping, that included all the meal prepping, all cutting up everything. That was the whole thing. I had 28 frozen bags of food, which each one had between 4 and 6 servings in it. So like I said, it was between 2 and 3 days worth of dinners, which was freaking awesome. It was genius. And that really helped, because part of this whole thing is like your routine literally gets flipped on its ass, right? Because you're in a routine, whatever your routine is right now, and you now have to squeeze in 2 workouts a day. You have to eat healthy. You can't just grab something on the run unless you're taking protein bars with you and stuff like that, which you have to do. But you can't just go grab Chinese food or Chick-fil-A or McDonald's and you're done at that point. Does that make sense?
100%.
So that was one of the biggest things that really was really helpful for me, was having the meals planned out. Because if you don't, Darren Hardy talks all the time, you get in life what you plan for. That might be a Jim Rohn thing that he picked up on, but you get in life what you plan for. And 75 hard is a big planning thing. So I had to plan out in that Sunday. I had to plan out everything I wanted to do super fast and then adjust as we went. And it was pretty crazy, man. And it was really, really difficult to get that routine. But once we were about 2 to 3 weeks in of the routine, it became pretty easy at that point. Mm-hmm. But it was very difficult that first 2 to 3 weeks of making sure everything got done, and and had all kind of really timed out and planned out for the entire day, or it just gets, because the day gets lost. You guys all know that by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, sometimes your days are just screwed, right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't have that routine planned, you're not going to be successful with 75 hard. I'm telling you, it was really hard.
Yeah. What I was just thinking of when you came to doing 75 hard, maybe for a month or so, you're like, man, what I was just thinking is kind of like a general in battle, making adjustments on the battlefield. You're like, you know what? I need to just hunker down and just make a month worth of food, just have it in the freezer, have it ready to go. And that's just good. There's a few principles that are parallel with whatever you're doing in life or business, that making adjustments, and also just having awareness of your time and energy. With the food, obviously that's a huge part of the challenge. Or if you're just living your day-to-day life, everybody has to eat. Nobody gets around that. So just kind of having awareness of how much time that's taken out of your day. Is that the highest revenue generating activity you could be doing? Or how are you saving your time? So by taking that 6.5 hours on Sunday, planning out or having the next month of food available or more readily available was a big game changer for you in the 75 hard.
Yeah. And so what I did for that too is so I would basically every Sunday still meal prep my lunches out for the week and my breakfast. I made my oatmeal. My oatmeal lasted me 7 days. My tacos that were super lean and healthy tacos lasted me a month or a week at a time. So every Sunday I would just do a little bit of, and then because I had majority of the crock pot meals done, all I had to do for all the rest of my meals was a couple hours on Sunday for my breakfast and my lunch. And a lot of times I just had leftovers, or I had a bean salad. Dude, you know how easy it is to make a really good bean salad for your lunch that is like super high in protein and really good with greens and spinach and all that stuff? It's really not that hard. You know, I made enough beans to literally just go dump it on my salad. And it was again, you plan stuff out and it's really easy. So everyone, obviously, I want to pivot to the workout stuff because, you know, that's really hard. So one thing I learned is that I am not a gym rat. Through this whole process of COVID, I learned that I freaking just hate the gym. I hate it. I freaking hate it. I really just don't like the gym. It's gross. It's dirty. It's nasty. That was pre-COVID. It was gross. There's sure as hell way I'm going to go to the gym when people don't wipe after themselves now, you know, prior to COVID. Like, and the thing, you know, you go to the gym and you get distracted. You got your phone, which is playing your music, but then you're getting buzzes over here. What I loved is, you know, I'm not a Beachbody coach. I do not sell that stuff, but Beachbody guys was freaking phenomenal for their workouts. So I decided I was going to do the most challenging workout possible that I could think of because I'm an idiot. So well, actually, let me go back a second. I'll tell you what that was in a minute. Because of my back, because of my foot, I need you guys to understand, like, if, you know, I started off at 185 pounds. So there's the disgust. Remember I talked about being disgusted? I was the heaviest I've ever weighed. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, maybe to some people, but I'm only 5'11", and I got skinny fat, right? I got dad bod really bad. And I didn't even realize it, guys, until I took the day one picture. And I was like, holy shit. No wonder I'm disgusted with the way I feel and the way I look. And you don't even realize it until you really take a good step back. And so, because of my physical disability, if not really disabilities, but, you know, my issues, I started slow. You know, a workout does not have to be you going to the gym and throwing weights around and just like going nuts from the beginning.
CrossFit or something.
You got to start slow. So what I started doing was I had to get up early because I had to squeeze in an extra 45 minutes of my morning work or routine into a workout. Guys, I just went for a 3-mile walk and at a slow pace, then started getting faster and faster and faster. And then I got down to where I was basically walking a 14, I think I got down at some points like a 13-minute mile, walking very fast paced because I couldn't run. I can't run. Well, then about, I don't know, maybe a month into it of doing really fast, I started jogging lightly. And I was like, okay. So I would do like a mile jog. And then I would start doing a 1.5 mile jog. And I'm like, okay, ankle's feeling pretty good. Back's feeling good. And because I'm building up muscle along the way with my secondary workout and losing weight and taking pressure off my back and off my ankle because I'm losing weight. Also started building up muscle around my back because I'm doing a lot of core workout, obviously. And I started working out my feet and my calves and my shin muscles, right? Started getting stronger. So then I started running like 1/4 mile, 1/2 mile. And by the time I was done, I was running an 8-minute mile.
Yeah.
Just like that, without pain, no pain either. Maybe a little discomfort, but not pain. Like before, Carlos, like I would really feel like if I ran for 1/2 mile, like ran 1/2 mile prior to this, it feel like I had a knife stuck in my ankle. It was brutal. It's bad. And so, you're not just going to go crazy out of day one. My day 75 workout was completely different from day one. But so my morning workout routine was that basically it was just a light walk to a medium walk to a fast-paced walk to a light jog to a medium jog. And then I would basically still walk a mile, and I would then run a mile and then walk/run another mile. So I always was doing 3 miles because of the timing, right? Sometimes it's actually more like 3.5 because once you run an 8-minute mile, you're cutting off time of your normal walk. But anyway, I digress. So you guys don't have to go out the gate guns blazing. Start slow, work your way up to it, and then get faster, better, stronger. And so what I decided to do for my afternoon workout, so that was my morning. I got the outside workout done super easy because
Florida, eat the frog.
Yeah, eat the frog, right? Get the out because it's 6 in the morning, 5:30, 6 in the morning. It's not hot outside. It's really nice outside most of the time. But here in Florida, we're in Tampa Bay, especially around 3, 4 in the afternoon, almost every day during that time of the year, it rains. I was like, I don't want to be working out and doing that in the rain. It's hot. It's 80, 90 degrees outside. Humid is AF. I don't want to be running or walking fast paced at 4 in the afternoon. So I did my workout in the afternoon at 4 o'clock. Well, I decided to do Sean T's Insanity. Bro.
Those are wild.
It's insane. It is literally insane. And so what's cool about that is like I would do a stretch because I would start my workout with a stretch because I already worked out in the morning. And then I would do his crazy 30-minute workout because it's 30 minutes of just pure straight hit, high intensity interval training. And then there would be a cool down stretch again, or sometimes I would also incorporate his 10 to 15 minute ab workout, depending on how I felt that day to make sure I hit that 45 minutes. Right. So that was my afternoon hard workout. I did the modified version because that's what's really cool about his workout there. And a lot of the Beachbody stuff, they have modified workouts because there's no way I could do the high impact stuff that those crazy sons of guns do. And they have a modified, so you're not putting impact on your feet or your knees or your hips, which was really, really helpful because obviously was not in great shape to start. And by the time I got done with the program, I was doing a majority of the non-modified workout and still doing some of the modified because I literally was building up my strength from those workouts. Now that's only a 60-day program. So I had to fill the gap with another 15-day program. Oh, and it's only Monday through Friday. So I found this really great YouTube channel, Fit with Ty, which was another 45-minute hit workout. And I would do those on Saturdays and Sundays. So like literally I was doing high interval cardio training for 75 or 60 days straight. And then I did another Beachbody thing called 10 rounds, which was super freaking fun. It's a boxing workout that they also incorporate some lifting and some it literally is it's a lot of fun. It's just, and I'm telling you, you don't think like I remember being done with Insanity and then doing 10 rounds and the first day of doing the 1-2s, right? 1-2 for the entire workout. I literally couldn't lift my arms the next day. It was the craziest thing. And you're literally just going 1-2, step back, 1-2. And it was, literally my forearms and but it was a fun, like that was a really fun program. And that we just continued that past 75 hard, just kept living the ethos, if you will, past that. So those were the things I did for the workouts. And it was fun because I lost 20 pounds. I was 185 when I started. When I took my last progress picture on day 75, I was down to 165.
That's wild. It reminds me when you're talking about your workouts, Greg, the morning workouts where you start off walking. You started saying, I can't run. And then within 30 seconds of telling you about your progress, you're like, yeah, I was running 8-minute miles. So that's awesome. But it reminds me of David Goggins where it's like,
oh, dude. So yeah, I got to talk about that, bro.
Please do. So, he's like one of my favorite podcast.
I listened to David Goggins' audiobook every single morning on my walk and run. Every single morning for 75 days. That book was on repeat. So I listened to it for the first time about a year ago. And my one of my agents, Heather Dearborn, did 75 hard last year. And she's like, you need to listen to that book while you do it. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, it's a great book. And then I now listen to it all the time. I'm listening to it again right now just because it keeps me in the 75 hard mentality, the can't hurt me mentality. And so that book was also, I did physically read that book during 75 hard as well. Cause I was like, man, I got to read the book too, because he references pictures and stuff that's not in the audio as well. And I was like, I got to get the hard copy of the book. So I read the hard copy as well during 75 hard, but man, I literally listened to that book every single day. And man, that guy's a freaking badass.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, that was really big help because it just kept motivating me because there's plenty of days where I woke up and I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. But like you throw on David Goggins and you're just like, oh, this ain't shit. If you guys have not listened to that book, my God, throw everything away, put every book down you're reading right now and just go read that book, please.
Yeah. Amazing book.
Amazing book.
Amazing. And that's how I was. Yeah. That's how I was in 2018. That was like probably my most listened podcast too of all time, actually, is the first interview he did with Joe Rogan, because I was the same exact way. I would listen to it anytime I was working out. I would listen to that interview anytime I'm doing kind of like backstage work, like emails or stuff where I don't need to be like super, like, one-on-one communicating. I would just listen to that like all the time, and that just set a different standard for like my output of work I would actually do, whether it's physical workout, InvestorFuse work, whatever. But
Mhm.
also, I want to loop back to something that you said, which brings up this principle here, is the inner dialogue that you have with yourself. So at the end of the night, you sprung out of bed at 10:45 and you're like, oh crap, I didn't take my progress pick yet. And it's the inner dialogue that you have with yourself, not only in that moment, but like throughout literally your entire life. And it's like, your inner, he has some choice words for it, but it's like, oh, you know what, just take 2 progress picks tomorrow, or like, you know what, I can convince my wife that I'll just, start this again. It's not a big deal. But it's really how you talk to how your inner dialogue is and how you talk to yourself. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna go get this progress pick done. It's not even a, and as you build that up, which I'm gonna let you expand on, it's like not as big of a fight. Like you just do it because you're like
Yeah.
programmed to do it.
It became part of the routine. That's what I'm saying. Like after the first 2-3 weeks, it just became part of the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally had my day so structured, Carlos, that like it was going to be impossible to fuck it up. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's how you have to live your life though. Your schedule has to be so regimented when you have a specific goal in mind that it is so regimented that it is not possible for you to screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Like if you want something bad enough, you will make sure that it is part of your routine to make sure that you don't screw it up. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you had to watch Rookie of the Year, right? The movie with the kid that played for the Chicago Cubs movie, right?
Yeah, his arm cranks back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I
Henry
always remember
Rowengartner.
going back to the weird when Gary Busey has to go to the mountain and says you have to have the have to or whatever, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, what the hell did he just say? And he goes, what the hell did I just say? That's actually great life advice. You
Yeah.
have to find the have to. You have to do something. It's non-negotiable. Like it's not like it's not I should, it's I must, or I have to. And that's because I think it's Darren Hardy again. I'm a big Darren Hardy guy because he talks about if you have too many shoulds, you're going to should all over yourself.
Mm. So true.
And so like that's kind of like again the David Goggins, all these guys that are high performance athletes and high performance business people, Ed Milet's, all have the same thing. They talk about the same thing. So it's not just projection, it's like how it works. Like it's how our brains are wired or have to be rewired, you know? So yeah, that stuff was very challenging. So like, but again, once you set the routine, what I did too is I also had a checklist, and I didn't use an app. I know there is a 75 hard app. I did not use the app. I don't even know what the app does. I did not buy the book. The book was not out, I don't think, until I was near the end of the program anyway. But I just had a checklist every day that I just was like, boom, 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 and just made sure I did it. And there were times where I looked at that and I go, oh shit, it's 10 o'clock at night and I haven't read my 10 pages yet, because just life happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially on a Friday or Saturday night, you're like, oh shit, I forgot to do this. Or, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that. So having a checklist that basically what it did is it just, my checklist that I use like automatically reset every morning. So like it was just, I always had to check it off every day.
Nice.
So that helped a lot. You have to have what Goggins talks about in his book. You have to have backstops too. When you start veering off track, you have to have things that you recognize that go, oh shoot, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I need to go back over here.
Mm-hmm. Some guideposts just to kind of keep you on a certain path.
Yeah. So like when I say that people are like, oh, I could never do 75 hard, I go, there is zero excuse. You just don't want it bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I didn't, I used to think that was all bullshit until I did it. And I will say this too, guys, like I don't do 75 hard every day, but I try my best to still almost work out every day. Now, holidays are at the time of the recording of this, it's the holidays. The week of Thanksgiving was not great. We still worked out like once or twice that week, but the rest of it was craziness, right? So it also, let me put it this way. Once you do this for 75 days straight, if you decided you're just going to go back to your old ways, then you missed the point of the challenge. And like there have been days or consecutive days where I don't live what becomes part of the ethos, part of your mentality. And I will tell you, kid you not, man, I've gotten depressed because I didn't do what I know I'm capable of for a day or two or three in a row. And you're just like, this sucks. And you just like have to snap back into getting back on track with what you know you're capable of, because that's one thing that you learn through the process of 75 hard is you learn that you're capable of even more than doing 75 hard, because you're like, oh shit, I just did this. What else am I capable of? And that's what Goggins talks about in his book, all the way through that book.
Mhm.
What else are you capable of as a human being? So yeah,
The
like
40% rule, like you're really
40%
only,
rule.
whatever you're doing, I think that's it, is like you really have a governor on yourself, like they have on like go-karts and stuff that keeps the speed down.
Yep. And it one of the things that also really has come to be a struggle with that is having, this is going to sound super narcissistic or vain, or maybe I don't know the right word. But when you start having conversations with people who don't share your mentality or don't share the way you see certain things, man, you just feel like you're such an asshole because you brush them off. You're just like, go
Yeah.
away. I don't want to talk to you. Like, I don't have time for your bullshit. Like, and it's really hard, man. Like, it's really hard to still be a good, or feel like you're being a good person or a nice person when someone is just being the opposite of what you are. And it's something I'm learning how to deal with personally.
Mhm.
Because I just I can't deal with negativity anymore. It just puts me in a bad space. It's like, it makes me feel negative about their negativity. So it's like, it puts me in a negative mind. It's like this weird circle that happens. So it's like, you have to just like distance yourself from those people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I can definitely work on that myself as well. But really,
Forgot the
that's,
product placement. Sorry.
yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. This podcast is brought to you by Outfast Realty Investments. But no, man, that's true. And that's something Goggins talks about too, is like your inner circle. And there's, kind of a lot of cliche things that I've been thinking, like it's not a marathon, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, as far as when you're talking about like just start off walking and stuff like that, and just like that. And then really what's the other one? But it's so true, like what your show me your five closest friends, or the five people you spend the most time with, and I'll show you your future, stuff like that, or your network is your net worth. But it's so true. And I like hearing someone's philosophy. And another thing Goggins talks about is he's not a theorist. Like he's not a guy sipping coffee in an office talking about like what the brain is possible doing. It's like he's actually living it. And the one thing that you were saying, I don't think I finished the thought there, was like when you're like, oh yeah, like I got bulging discs, I got vertebrae, I got cartilage in my ankle, all this stuff. That's definitely true. And obviously you have injuries and stuff, but Goggins and Greg showed doing the 75 challenge that sometimes your brain almost like tricks you, for lack of a better term, into experiencing that pain more.
So I'll give you an example of that too. Like, so we went and had drinks at social distance drinks at a friend's house a couple weeks ago. And this goes back to, I'm a big Tony Robbins guy. Like, obviously you can't, if you haven't figured it out, I'm a big personal development guy, right? If you guys are
Love
watching
it.
this, right? And so like when we were talking about Tony, we got on the topic of Tony Robbins, and we'd had a few drinks at that point. And they're like, she goes, I could never walk on the coal thing. You didn't do that, did you? And I was like, yeah, I did it. It's fucking awesome. Like, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Like, I would go do it again tomorrow. Like, go lay me some coals out right now, guys, and I'll go do it right now. She's like, you're crazy. I'm like, I would do it right now. And so they had like this little fire pit thing going. I was like, stuck my hand in it. I was like, it's not a big deal. I'm doing it right now. And I started grabbing the fire. And I'm like, it's mind over matter, y'all. It doesn't matter. I'm like literally grabbing the fire. And she's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, it's not a big deal. Mind over matter. It literally is the craziest fucking thing on the planet. And
Yeah.
so like your mind will override your pain. It's crazy, man. And like, so like I said, like if you start doing this and you stop living the ethos, I literally have been days where I just was so unmotivated and so depressed because I felt like I was off track. And it's hard trying to keep living at past your governor, right? It's really a hard thing to do. And like, coming back from Thanksgiving has been a challenge because you get in a little bit of a rut. And now I'm just like, we've been working out every day since Saturday. And so like I started to feel a little bit better, a little more energized, a little bit back into the routine. And so I'm glad that Andy did created phases of 75 hard. There's phase 1 and phase 2, I think, after that. And so phase 1 is something I'll be starting at the first of the year.
Oh, let's go.
Because yeah, I'm ready to do it again. Cause like I told Jackie, is like, we had the conversation. I was like, I feel somewhat depressed that I'm not doing something like 75 hard again. I'm like, I want to do it again. I want to do phase 1. So I'm actually just waiting on my ice bath tub to get here. Cause in Florida,
dude, that's so funny. I was just going to ask you if you're into doing ice bath type stuff.
I'm not, but I'm going to have to if I'm going to do the phase 1, because here in Florida, our showers don't get cold at all. So a couple of my buddies are into that. And a couple of buddies are like one of my business partners and in our hard money lending company, he's back doing 75 hard. He failed the first time at like day 58 or something like that. So he's back doing it. Oh, it's terrible. I felt so bad for him. He fell asleep and didn't do his 10 pages at night. So anyway, so he's back to his 75 hard, but once he's done with that, he wants to do phase 1 with me. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, the refrigerator thingy, the freezer, is back ordered. So it's been like, because like I got like almost finished with, I got finished with 75 hard. I was like, I want to do phase 1 right away. So I called up my appliance guy. I'm like, I want to buy a freezer because I want to do it right now. And he was like, oh, it's like 6 to 8 weeks at the minimum. And I'm like, oh no. So I'm waiting on that because like literally again, I'm not going to do it half-assed. I'm not going to take a shower at 80 degree temperature like it is in Florida. Right now, with it being 45 degrees outside, it would probably be nice and cold, but like that, it's only going to last for another 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, that stuff is, I mean, talk about building up mental discipline. I'm notoriously a guy that does not like the cold or anything like that.
Baltimore, homie. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I was just born out, or I was raised out here, but like I'll be in the St. Thomas Virgin Islands and I'll be like, this water's a little cold. Like it has to be like nice and warm. So started doing cold showers and stuff like that, which I learned from just watching like Wim Hof and being in the Aubrey Marcus Mastermind and stuff like that. My buddy who's in the Aubrey Marcus Mastermind with me lives in Miami and he has a membership to a place for just doing ice baths.
No shit. That's cool.
Real estate guy too. Brandon Schwalm, if you know him.
Oh, I know Brandon. I bought a house from him recently. Or I bought a condo from him last month, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good dude. But
is
like
he that InvestorFuse guy?
No, he's been on and off InvestorFuse before, his team. So he has his team doing and I haven't talked real estate business with him in a while, but he was like just doing a ton of texting. So he was just running a lot of stuff, just doing texting and then like a basic like Podio. I don't even think it had like a lot of automation in there. But I need to get him on the show as well. We're big on texting
right now.
Yeah.
The last deal I purchased, I bought direct from the seller via text message. It was the coolest fucking thing ever.
Yeah. And then talk about another of Tampa's finest. One of the last episodes I just released was with Adam Nasir, and he was hanging out last time we were in Tampa. Yeah, Smarter Contact. So literally when when me and Dan were down there last October, I was hanging out with all these dudes at the Family Reading Mastermind where I met Ron LeGrand, a bunch of those dudes. But yeah, man, the ice baths or even taking a cold shower, that's what Goggins talks about. That's where you really learn about yourself. And that, for me, that starts with like the inner dialogue. So like as soon as I do the cold shower, I'm like, try to breathe, calm myself, get the cortisol down. But that you really learn a lot about yourself getting in cold showers or the ice bath.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I might text or call my guy today and be like, hey, any update? Because I'm like, we get back from our vacation on January 3rd, and on January 4th, or whatever the next day is, I forget.
It's at Mondays the 4th, I think.
Okay, so yeah, that'd be that Monday will be the day I start 75 hard phase 1. Whether I have my ice bath or not, I will still just do it because I'm ready. I'm itching to do it again.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
our business coach.
But the cool thing about it, dude, is like, what's that?
I was just going to say our business coach is big into 75 hard, and he's rolling right into phase 1, which I saw includes the cold shower, 5-minute cold shower ice bath, and also 10 minutes of dedicated visualization, which I love.
Yeah, I already do another thing. Again, what's cool about 75 hard is I feel like even phase 1, like I already do some of that stuff, which is really cool because like another part of it is like you do one focus thing per day. I'm like, I already fucking do that. Like that's been Darren Hardy thing. I've been doing that for 2 years now. Insane productivity program like that. I think I told you guys about that too. You guys need to be doing that. But like, again, you get what in life, what you plan for. And part of the insane productivity is the planning of your day, having one most valuable priority per day. And that's the only thing you do that day until it's done. And then you could literally take the rest of the day off. And that's part of 75 hard phase 1, which is really cool. I'm like, one other thing I don't have to like stress about getting into my day is the MVP for the day.
Love that. dude, I need
We
to
should
go
do an
for a run or
InvestorFuse
something.
75 hard challenge group.
We should. That would be amazing. And that's the thing that's like because I was looking at it when Dan and I were looking at it, I guess from our business coach doing it. And I remember Dan was like looking at the time. He's like, oh, I could do it. It'd be right before Thanksgiving. And even now, like seeing you do it or just other people doing it gets me so fired up. But the first thought that comes to your head, it's like, oh, well, New Year's Eve, you're probably going to want to drink. But really, what it comes down to, especially now, bringing it full circle, when is going to be a better time to like hunker down, not drink for a month, for 2.5 months than when we're locked down in quarantine and stuff? Like
That's
literally
exactly
no
why it
better
was.
time.
And that's whenever it was like, you did this during quarantine and you didn't drink for 2.5 months. I was like, yeah, no big deal. But what's really cool about that too is like, I'm not a huge heavy drinker. Like I'm not a person that has a drink every day, but I'd have
Yeah.
2 to 3 drinks or 2 to 3 days a week that I would drink. Sometimes more depending on how many TB RIA meetings or other networking events that we would go to. But like I now, because of 75 hard, I made a rule. It's a rule that I don't drink during the week. Period. Friday, like, or a school night, I should say. I don't drink on school nights, right? I don't drink Sunday through Thursday. End of discussion. I don't do it. Because, and even when I do now, like literally Jack and I will share a bottle of wine on a Friday night and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We did get hammered one night and we were just like, I just like for days, I felt like shit. And I won't ever do that again. Like I literally just like made a rule and you like just live by that rule. And it's not a should, I shouldn't drink during the week. I don't drink during the week anymore. I just don't. And that's really hard because I go to TB RIAs on a Thursday night. It's a school night. I don't drink at TB RIA. And so it's a challenge for sure. But you know, the thing is like when you tell people that you don't drink during the week, they're like, oh, cool. I respect that. You expect people to be like, oh, you're weird. No, they actually respect it when you say, no, I'm doing a challenge. I can't drink for 75 days. Oh, that's awesome. Cool, man. Good luck with that. They're not assholes about it. Like I expected, there were a couple people, but for the most part, people like were like, oh, that's amazing. Good for you. Or I don't drink anymore during the week. Oh, that's amazing. Good for you. You know? And who gives a shit what they think anyway, honestly.
Yeah, it's good way to filter those people out that you don't want to have in your circle anyway. But
Yeah,
then it all comes down to the inner dialogue too. Like that's another inner dialogue. Like I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it in those situations. Oh man, you want to have a drink? And it's like, what goes through your head? You know?
Yeah. Like I even had a buddy of mine. He's like, let's go have cigars. And I was like, nah, because the cigar leads to drinking a glass of bourbon. Guarantee it. And I was like, I honestly don't even want to put the poison in my body. And I love smoking cigars with my buddies. Like, I'm just like, maybe on a Friday or Saturday night, we'll have, we'll have one, but it's like, I don't know. I'd rather live an extra 10 years.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the two main things I picked up during the quarantine was golfing a bunch and more so getting into smoking cigars just on the rooftop up here. Tyler, another Florida InvestorFuse guy, big investor guys, Tyler Austin hooked me up with my full humidor, cigar, cutter,
Nice.
everything like that. He's a good dude. But yeah, I like doing a stogie. Just I'm not a big drinker either. I'll drink socially, like on weekends, more so when we were actually going out and doing stuff here locally. And I'm single, 30-year-old. I'm not married with son or anything just yet. But I like doing a stogie with like coffee in the morning and like an audible book on the roof or some music, something like that. That's a nice chill after you have your workout. Kind of a good way to sit back and relax, think about life. But yeah, man, a lot of good stuff here. One follow-up question from the reading 10-page today. In addition to the David Goggins Can't Hurt Me, which I will also put my stamp of approval on, or even the first interview with Joe Rogan is amazing too, where he kind of just tells his story. What else did you have on the reading docket besides David Goggins Can't Hurt Me?
Yeah, good question. I read Grant Cardone's Be Obsessed or Be Average twice. And I listened to the audiobook twice through as well. So like the 75 hard, that literally, the only thing I listened to was personal development, anything. It was pretty crazy, guy. So that was one. I read Shoe Dog like for like the 10th time, but I read I ordered the physical copy because I listened to the book a few times, but I read the physical copy, and it just like it just cemented that story in my brain. And if you guys haven't read that book, it's probably one of the greatest memoirs ever written. Oh my God, it's amazing. So it's been on heavy rotation in my life for a couple of years now. But the reading of the physical copy of that book was really, really good. I read also. I haven't finished it yet because I put it down for a couple other more important books. Like it just things shifted, right? To do wanting to do some be obsessed or be average with some shifting that we made in our business. So I had to put the Tony Robbins book down. I had never read a Tony Robbins book, actually, just done his YouTube videos or done his programs, like gone to Unleash the Power Within and did the Firewalk thing and all that goodness. But like I never read any of his books. So I was reading Unleash the Power Within or whatever that book is that he has. And I got about halfway through that book, which was great. I've been listening to an audio version of that right now, but like I read that book, which was, it's like this thick and it's like really teeny tiny writing. So that I was reading that and that was really good as well. I just need to finish that one. But I picked up different books because as you are developing, your mental development is rapidly growing. It's rapidly evolving through that. Like, I just learned that I had to pick up some other books while I was going to, like, because I wanted to learn or to dive deeper into the specific things in those other books that helped me along the way too. So those are all phenomenal books that I read during that time.
Love it, man. Yeah, I need to read.
And a lot of times one of the things I'll say is like a lot of days where I didn't read just 10 pages. Like some days where like I read 20, 30, 40, 50 pages of the books because like you're just going and you just can't stop sometimes. So I'm a pretty fast reader too. So like 10 pages is nothing. 10 pages of the Tony Robbins book was a challenge because literally I'm telling you that book is thick, it's tall, and it's like the writing is little teeny tiny compared to like a Be Obsessed or Be Average or 75 Hard by Andy Frisell. Like those books are small and the writing is big and stuff like that. No, that book is challenging.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I definitely need to read Shoe Dog. I got that as a gift. Dude. From one of my friends.
Amazing. One of the best books I've ever read.
Love that. Well, dude, this has been an awesome conversation. I guess just to end here, would love to hear any thoughts on 2021 and moving forward. It sounds like we're going to kick it off with a 75 hard phase 1, which is amazing. Like I just found out what that is literally Tuesday of this week, Wednesday this week. Yeah. And I was like, damn, 10 minutes of visualization, that fires me up. The cold shower, I like cringe thinking about it. So I know that's something that's really good. But yeah, would love to hear insight, vision for 2021. We got the 75 hard phase 1, and also appreciate your time here. I know we're going a little over our time block that we had booked out.
We always do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so I think that 2021 is going to be a very interesting year. There's going to be a lot of unknowns. So like, again, we're recording this in early December. There's going to be a lot of unknowns with what really happens with the pandemic, with the vaccines coming out, with the changing of the guard of the presidency. We are not going to go political on this, but, there's going to be some shakeups. There's going to be some changes, and I don't know what those look like. None of us really know what that looks like, what kind of legislation gets passed to stop foreclosures in 2021 or stop evictions in 2021 federally. I don't know if they have the ability to do that. I know like governors are feeling different about that. So again, there's so many unknowns for next year. So what I will go back to what we talked about originally today. Guys and gals, make sure that you have some way of pivoting next year or this year, whenever you're watching this. In 2021, you have to be able to pivot like we did in 2020. And, whether that's signing up for Max Maxwell's mastery program or whatever the hell he has, or, Tom Kroll and the guys at Wholesaling Inc. or whatever it is that you need to expand your knowledge base on, you'd better start looking at it now. Because you do not want to be stuck holding the bag with your one-trick poniness in 2021, because things are going to change rapidly with the new administration, with potentially new, if they do win Georgia and it is the Democrats run all aspects of government, I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I mean, it could be really, it could be really awful and good all the same time for real estate. So it's hard to say which direction that's going to go. So just be ready to pivot to whichever way there is, because there's money to be made in any economy in real estate. And that's the beauty of real estate. That's the beauty of it, is that there's ways to make money and whatnot at all aspect or at all times during real estate. Some of it's best made during a crisis, like 2008, 9, and 10. Like more millionaires were built by real estate during that time frame than any other time in history. So make sure you guys can pivot in any way, shape, or form. So again, maybe that is getting your real estate license. Maybe that's learning creative financing. Maybe that's learning, subject twos and all that stuff like that. Maybe you're better off wholesaling. It's up to you, but learn the trends and pivot towards that marketplace and that exit strategy, and then double, triple, quadruple down on it. So that way you can be successful and build yourself up for next year.
Love it.
No excuses.
Love it, man. A lot of unknowns for sure, but I think 75 hard, or just having some type of rhythm to personal development and reflection allows you to focus on the things that you can control, which is really what you should focus on at the end of the day. And then obviously the mechanism, strategy, get yourselves into a program, mentor, whatever, for learning, the 7+ different exit strategies for real estate, and being optimistic. Like Greg said, like more millionaires were made in real estate than in the 08 to 2010 period than any other time and period. It sounds like, which is amazing. And Greg, dude, appreciate you, the way you choose to live your life. Inspiring. Like I said, has definitely been an inspiration for me. Glad to call you a friend the last close to 5 years here.
Absolutely.
Which has been awesome. And appreciate you sharing, man. I'm big on, because I think that is the ultimate 80-20 lever, is kind of how you choose, how you can like control or choose to program your mind to go a certain way. So this is the most David Goggins-esque podcast. He's one of my favorite people, so this has been awesome.
Yep. Awesome, Carlos. Always a good catching up with you, man. Good seeing you from afar. So
likewise, man.
We get to do this in person here soon.
Yeah, man. We'll link up for some bar taco, do some knock some tequila back when you're not doing the phase one. What's the best way to follow you actually? Because I know that you've released some episodes of the show, which I like, because it's literally just raw real estate, going into houses, phone calls, Airbnb, stuff like that. What's the best place to check out the show episodes that you have rock and rolling, podcast, social, everything like that? And
you can follow us. You can follow our business pages on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Outfast Realty, or you can follow my pages on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well at Real Greg Simpson. You can email me at greg@outfastrealty.com if you ever want to pick my brain or want to have me on your podcast or whatever you want to do. You can find me anywhere, send me a DM, all that good stuff. But yeah, we're everywhere on social at this point.
Sweet. Check him out. Give Greg and team a follow. Maybe you'll see some video clips of Jeremy in there and the other teammates. And shoot Greg a message if you decide to do 75 hard. I'm sure that'll give him some further inspiration when he gets into phase one here.
Yep. Sounds good, man.
Cool. Have a good one, guys.